Hello, this is Emp, and welcome to my next Node.js tutorial, in which we're going to make the very simplest server that there ever was. All it's going to do is say hello world every time you go to it, and that's it. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, as always, is make my package.json. So I'm going to save that. It's package.json. And name will be simple server. Version 0.1.0. Main in this case will be server.js. And then we're going to do our scripts. And in this case, we're going to have two scripts. So that's why we need this object in there, because we might have more than one. Our start script is going to be a little bit more complicated. It's going to be start node server.js. And what that basically means is start this node server in a separate window and then close it when it's done. And node client.js. So we have two things. We have our server, which is going to handle requests, and we have our client, which is actually going to make the request, because if we have just the server sitting there, nothing will ever happen because nobody ever asks anything of it. Okay, and then we're going to have client, which is when we're going to run the client with the server already running, so we don't need to run it again. Node client.js. And that's it for our package.json. Now, in order to make our server, we're going to use, after I save server.js, we're going to use Express for this. And Express is really nice. It simplifies things a lot for you. You don't have to do WebSockets and so forth. So I'm going to have to install Express. I have my console window where I've already navigated to simple server. I'm going to do npm install -- save. So this is going to save it as a dependency. And then so it's Express, that's what it's called. And it will install it for me. And there we go. And if you notice in the package.json, it now says dependencies express. And we also have this folder called node modules, which has all this stuff in it, but specifically Express, and then everything that Express depends upon. So that's really nice because NPM is handling all that for you. You don't have to individually put in, I want this and this and this and this so that I can use this. No, it handles all of that for you. So it's really nice. Okay, so server. We're going to say var express equals require express. So I'm getting my express module and I'm putting in this variable here. Var server equals express. So that's just calling it up, making one. Server.get. So get is the simplest HTTP request. And so we're just going to get on the /, which means anything on there, just the regular one. Function request response. I'm going to console.log. I got hit by somebody requesting me. And then I'm going to say res.send hello world. Oops. Hello world. There we go. So that sets up my server to respond to a GET request. And it will log in its own window the I got hit part, and then it will send back hello world. So, but we actually have to start our server up before we can do anything. So I'm going to say server.listen. I'm going to give it port 3000. It doesn't really matter as long as you don't take one of the reserved ports like 22 for SSH. Generally take high ones. High ports are pretty much unallocated. So we're going to take port 3000 function to call when it finishes, console.log express server listening on port 3000. And that's it for our server. Very, very simple. So for our client, we're going to use request, which is also pretty helpful. It makes the request, obviously, side of HTTP much simpler. So we're going to say npm install -- save request. And there we have it. It's in our dependencies, so we're all good. We're ready to make our client. New file. I'm going to save it as, not in node modules. I'm going to save it as client.js. And we need our request module. And then all we have to do is request.get. We're going to go to our URL, which in this case is localhost, port 3000, because that's what we said on the server. It doesn't really matter which port you choose as long as you use the same one for both, because otherwise they don't know how to communicate with one another. And our function for data is, we're going to have an error, we have a response, and we have a body that is sent to us. And this is how request makes it very simple. Normally, you would have to wait on data and you'd have to filter out what's the header and what's the body and if there's an error and stuff like that. In request, it's very simple. You just have to say if there's not an error, and response.status code equals 200, which means that it's finished. Then our body has everything accumulated already. We do not have to concatenate it. So we're just going to do console.log body. And that is it for our client. All right, let's see if this works. I have my two scripts. I have start and client. So I'm going to run my start script, npm start. As you can see, we opened up a new window for our server. We have our Express server listening on port 3000 and it got hit. And here's our client and it said hello world, which is exactly what it was supposed to do. Now I can run the client again however many times I want. I can say npm run client. And then it run it again and we say I got hit again. The server is still running. And it will continue to run until you get rid of the window. So I can run this as many times as I want. And it will keep saying I got hit each time. And that's it for this server because all it does is say hello world. So I don't have very much more to show you for this example. Next time we'll make something a little bit more complicated. But I hope you enjoyed this one.